Welcome to the Grumpy Guy BJJ podcast with your hosts James Wilson and Rob Eickhoff. We are here making friends and solving problems one podcast at a time.
Okay, so we are live again with episode 12 of the Grumpy Guy BJJ podcast. Co-host James Wilson here with Rob Eickhoff. Rob, how's it going, dude?
Yo, James, it is going okay.
It's going okay.
Okay, not great at this moment.
This is take 2 on the intro. Luckily, we didn't get too deep into it, but we had the mute button on the microphone when we started.
Jesus Christ, man.
So, yeah, and then the last one we recorded, we actually had our main audio stopped recording, so luckily we had a backup going.
Well, it's what happened is, so in case you guys noticed, episode 9, the audio wasn't fantastic. It's acceptable, but not fantastic. It's not as good as it has been.
Rob's calling out my microphone is what he's doing.
Yeah, we're trying to get James off his game. So if you guys don't like the audio quality on episode 9, please email James some nasty shit. But anyway.
Tell him to get a better mic.
So we recorded for 2 hours. And then when I hit the stop button on my app that we record on, the fucking thing froze up and lost all 2 hours. Thank goodness.
Yes.
We have a second microphone and we have a backup.
That is a tip, man. Podcasting tip like 101. I've lost a couple before doing podcasts. So that's something luckily we started doing.
Oh God, that would have been so frustrating. And then just now we started to record this podcast about 3 minutes ago. And I look at my screen and it's not recording. The goddamn mute button's pushed on my microphone, so we had to start back over. So
it's all right, man. It's all right.
We're figuring it out.
So, so like we were saying before we figured out that we weren't actually recording, we're recording this one a little out of order because Rob's going out of town in a few weeks. So this is actually, we're getting together the day after we recorded episode 9. And recording this one, but Rob, you're going to Texas to visit some family?
Yeah, going to Mansfield, Texas. My brother lives there. My mom and dad are making the trip from Michigan, so we'll have a big little Eickhoff family shindig.
Cool.
So I'm looking forward to it.
All right.
That'll be my first challenge on the no candy thing.
Haha, that's right, huh?
My family doesn't eat the healthiest.
Ooh, that's right.
Especially my mom.
Outside your little inner circle, your safe inner circle.
Yeah, that's going to be brutal, man, because my mom's always bringing little treats and shit. And so that's going to be a challenge.
All right, man. All right. Well, okay.
That'll be my first no candy challenge.
We'll be checking in, see how that goes in episode 13. So, so anyways, we today, a little different. Like I said, we usually get together on Fridays before training and record. And so today we're doing it on Saturday after training. And so earlier today, we actually had our first Grumpy Guy Fit class, which I thought went pretty well. Man.
I think it went well.
Yeah.
Everybody seemed to like it.
Yeah. Had 10 people show up to join us. Basically what Rob and I decided that since we both work out on Saturdays and it's easier to do, especially the ramping isometric stuff with someone else. It's it's so effective, but it's such a mental grind that it gets tough to do by yourself all the time. So having someone else there is good. So we're like, hey man, we'll get together, and anybody else who wants to join us for the workout can come and join us. And so that was kind of the birth of it, but it'll be interesting to kind of see where it goes, kind of combining a bunch of the stuff that we talk about on the podcast, the dynamic mobility, the ramping isometrics, and then also incorporating some crawling and steel mace stuff in. So it kind of makes for a unique training class, I thought. So
I like it, and it's cool that we get to teach people this stuff, but it is kind of selfish, because some of the stuff is tough, and it's so much better to do it with at least one person, if not a group.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of cool, and I really hope everybody liked it. And if anybody's listening, I guess, but if by the time anybody hears this, it's going to be 3 weeks in. Yeah. They've done it for 3 weeks, but the better you get, the more you do those ramping isos, the better you get, and the more benefits you're going to get out of it. Yeah. Because it's a little goofy, because you don't know where that 50%, that 100%, 75%, 100% is. Yeah. So it takes there's a figuring out period there. But it doesn't take long to figure out. No. Probably 2-3 sessions, and then you start getting a better and better grasp on it.
Yeah, it's a skill your body... It's a natural skill that your body should have that we just don't really develop. And so like we were talking to the people in the class, it's like, it's not going to make a whole lot of sense at first. I'm going to tell you go at 50%. You're going to be like, what the fuck is 50%? Like, that's the point. You don't know what 50% is. So that's kind of the point of doing this. Like, what's 50%? I like to use 80. I don't know why. Because to me, like, I define that 80% mark as the edge of your comfort zone. Like, once you hit that 80, you're right at that edge of your comfort zone. Once you start going past 80, you're starting to get into hard. So, like, in my mind, the first 30 seconds is easy, 50%. And then the second 30 seconds, it's funny. It's semantics, but in my mind, like, 80 means go right to the edge of that comfort zone. It should start to be just a little uncomfortable. The first 30 seconds should be kind of comfortable. You're finding the tension where it goes. It shouldn't be hard. And then that next one, you're right on that edge, right where, like, man, if I pushed much harder, I don't know, I'd be able to hold this, and then you go to that 100 where you're like, I can't hold it. I don't know if I'm going to make it. And so anyways, like I said, it's semantics. But that's why, like, when we're coaching it, and I'll go like, all right, 80%, I'll have to catch myself because Rob will be like 75%.
And the other reason I chose, because I don't, so
that's what Steve Maxwell said. That's
did he say 75?
Yep, he said 50, 75, 100.
Okay.
And it makes sense. It's like, okay, so I'm halfway there, 3/4,
yeah.
100%. Yeah. It's just in my mind, I'm thinking easy, right on the edge of that moderate, like, comfort zone, and then bam, we're going into the hard comfort zone. So I'm bumping the mics as I'm sitting here explaining it. We're looking for the threes, man. Unfortunately, everybody knows that bullshit happens in threes. So
yeah, I'm not feeling very optimistic. This recording's going to go well. God damn it.
No, we're good.
Talking about the different effort levels of the ramping isos, is that I find myself sometimes, and especially today because we had a big group there, so I was kind of a little bit excited. Like, I would start out too hard. Like, almost everything we did,
I know,
I was way more than 50. But I'd get like 15 seconds.
I'd be halfway through it before I realized, like, dude, this is supposed to be 50%.
Yes, exactly. And almost everything we did, I would be 15, 20 seconds into that 50%, and like starting to struggle. And I'm like, why am I struggling? Like, Jesus Christ, this is going to be a long I still got 60 seconds. This is going to be a long 60 seconds. And I was like, oh, I'm supposed to be a little more chilled out.
Yeah, it's supposed to be easy.
I'd chill out, just dial it back just a notch or two.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
Like you say, using that first 30 seconds to make some minor adjustments. Okay, like, am I feeling it here? If not, that's really what that's for.
It is.
So that way, when you start opening up the throttle, you're safe and everything's lined up where it needs to be.
Producing tension where you want.
Instead of just right away, like 3, 2, 1.
Yeah. I know. I do the same thing, man. I get all excited.
That's exactly.
Especially if you got like some music playing or whatever, and then you're like halfway through, and you're like, wait a minute, this is gonna be a long.
This is a long deal.
90 seconds here if I keep it this, but. Yeah, man, I think it's a super important, especially, I know I've talked about before, I think that 100%, like, learning how to use your breathing to add to the 100%, if you've trained jiu-jitsu for any amount of time, you've probably come across somebody explaining, like, probably the easiest way to explain is using a rear naked choke. You get somebody locked up and, like, instead of continuing to try to, like, squeeze with your muscles, you start to squeeze with your breathing. Like, you'll, as you let out, you increase the tension, and then you breathe in, and then and so you're just slowly increasing the tension with each breath, and you're using your breathing to increase the tension rather than trying to, like, squeeze the muscles. And that's a skill unto itself, and that's what I use that 100% effort level for. Like, I hit what I think is 100%, and then I start using that same breathing technique where I'm increasing the tension each time. And so, yeah, it's like such a jiu-jitsu specific skill because, so many, choke or, even like, joint locks, you think you're at that end point where you can't go anymore. And it's like, okay, stop using your muscles and start using your breathing. And you'll be surprised, like, how much more force you can start to apply or how much more, tension you can put in it. So, it's such a great, I'm so glad we went to that fucking
it is, dude.
That seminar, man.
That was really beneficial.
Yeah, super beneficial.
That was worth every penny we spent, the drive, everything. Like, it was good.
Yeah. So, all right, man. So that's all I got down for pre-show notes. I mean,
I got a little pre-show thing. Some bro knowledge. Bro knowledge. I seen something the other day that got my gears turning a little bit. So when I say bro knowledge, it's because I see something, I think about it, I do minimal research, and then I try to tell everybody like I know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Right.
Bro knowledge.
I'm not
professional here. I'm not professional here. So I saw a bunch of geese flying north. and we're in January. So I see that, from time to time. I'm like, my thought process is geese fly south in the wintertime and they fly back north in the springtime, right? That's kind of the thing. That's what we're taught, right?
That's what we're taught.
And so whenever I would see geese flying north at the wrong time of the year,
it's an Eddie Bravo type conspiracy.
No. You don't need the tinfoil hats for this one.
All right.
No, I would see them flying north, and I would get semi-excited because I have an outside job, and so I would always associate if they're flying north, that means we're not going to have real crazy weather. Maybe geese are more tuned into the fucking atmosphere or something. I don't know.
Sure they are.
Sure they are. I didn't look up that part, but they know more about the weather than I do. Like, they're flying north, cool. It's not going to be shitty.
Yeah.
So I started thinking that. I was like, man, I don't know how accurate that is. Let me look into this. So, of course, hit the Google, start figuring it out. Well, that's not such the case. They basically, that there's so many, because it's Canadian geese when you're seeing flying the bee and they migrate north and south. There's so many Canadian geese here across the country that a lot of them don't migrate anymore.
Oh, really?
And no, they don't. They just say fucking, they don't migrate. You'll see them moving.
Well, Al Gore would say that's called global warming.
It could be.
So.
Could be. But
there's some tinfoil conspiracies, dude. I knew we'd find it.
But there's so many of them. You'll see them flying just to get to different
they're just going
food sources.
Yeah, they're
find something
around.
else. But there is still some migration that goes on.
Yeah.
But there's large populations of Canadian geese that just don't migrate anymore.
That's funny.
So that's some good bro knowledge for you.
Yeah, no, that's good, man. I see them flying around too. I just figured that they just flew south enough to where they weren't in Canada, so they're like warm enough. No. And just hung out here.
No, I guess like the population just here in the States of Canadian geese has just been exploding over the past 50 years or whatever. Again, I didn't read. I was reading like the first few lines of each paragraph just to get. So that's what I'm sharing with you guys. Yeah. So I'm sure there's some geese fucking experts out there that are.
There's some random geese knowledge. Do you know what the state bird of Hawaii is?
It's not a geese.
It is.
Why is that the state bird of Hawaii?
It's the nene goose.
The nene goose?
Yeah, the nene goose.
Really?
Yeah.
What's that? What, does he look like a regular goose?
It's a goose, man, that has adapted to the islands because they have short wingspans compared to regular geese because they're not flying, migrating and flying around. And their feet are like adapted to walking around on lava rocks and coal and stuff like that. But coal, I don't know where the fuck I got coal. Lava rock. Sure. Lava
sounded good to me. I was going.
I know.
Fuck you. Maybe they're
at the luau's doing the fire walking.
Whatever, man.
No. Anyways, but yeah, no, it's the nene goose is the state bird of Hawaii. I know, I was surprised too. I did a tour guide when I lived in Hawaii, so I know all sorts of fucking
weird fact.
Shit.
Well, I'll share one more weird random goose fact. This is probably not random, but it was for me because I don't know shit about geese. Is there's a certain time every year where they can't fly. They literally cannot fly.
Because it's molted. Yeah, and their feathers haven't I
don't know how long it goes for. So they'll when that's coming up, they will fly usually to a big body of water, so they're set up for that period. Yeah. And then they molt or whatever the hell that means, and they can't fly. And then once they can fly again, up and.
God, I had a flashback to some like kid knowledge there.
Yeah, dude.
Like I remember that.
We're teaching you guys about jiu-jitsu and fucking geese.
Dude.
Chicken reproduction.
Oh man, yeah, we got all sorts of stuff.
I don't know why I've been obsessed with fowls and birds and shit lately. So I don't know. So that's my bro knowledge for the day.
Our mascot Akka won it out.
I was disappointed I didn't drop any bro knowledge in episode 9. I forgot to, man.
It's tough, man. It's tough. You got a lot.
I was all geared up to share that geese knowledge, and I just forgot.
Oh well, now people are gonna have to really wait until
the end of January to hear this.
So
hopefully there's no revelations and geese information between now and then.
Yeah, we'll find out you're
misinforming people.
Lying about the geese.
Lying to you guys.
That'll be one of our predictions. Find out Rob was lying.
My bro knowledge was wrong. That's a shocker.
Exactly.
All right.
Right, man. So, yeah, I guess being that we just sat down yesterday and talked, we got a little less pre-show than usual, but it's all right. We can jump right into it, man. Jump right into it. So this show we wanted to talk about is actually my suggestion. I appreciate Rob humoring me with it. Is predictions and stuff for the coming year. And again, just being January and just looking back on the previous year and kind of where things were headed and looking forward. And what'll be fun is we plan on doing this podcast for the foreseeable future. And so we'll be able to look back in a year on our predictions and see just how wrong we were. And so that is one thing.
I got a feeling that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, when it comes to predicting the future, it's a lot more wrongs than rights. So, but we'll see. We'll have some fun with it because, I don't know. I mean, you don't know how much of it is like you channeling where you wish things would go.
That's funny because when I was writing stuff down, I started writing a bunch of shit down, and then I realized it was not predictions, it was just wishful thinking. And so I just basically had to like crumble that piece of paper up and throw it out and start again. Cause
if I ruled the world.
Yeah, dude. They were not predictions. It was all kinds of crazy shit. And I was like, God, this is not where we need to go with this.
Yeah.
So
anyway.
I reeled it back in, so it shouldn't be as crazy.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
No, man. Yeah, I'm interested. As usual, we have not discussed our predictions with each other and stuff. So I'm actually pretty interested to see what Rob has predicted for the coming year. So
and so everybody knows, we did it within like 3 different categories in mind. So jiu-jitsu, obviously, our jiu-jitsu predictions for the year, health and nutrition, and fitness. Right? Yeah. That was basically my 3 categories that I was predicting.
Yeah,
that's more my crystal ball.
I kind of combined fitness and nutrition, and
so that I kind of separated them.
I guess you could say I got 3 of one and 2 of the other, or 5 in one big group.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So that's the kind of the framework we're.
So let's kick it off. We'll throw a prediction out there. You can explain kind of your thought process behind it, and then we'll discuss it a little bit, see if the other person has some thoughts on it.
Fair enough.
And we'll go from there. So
you want me to go? I'll
kick
go
us off, man.
Let's start with. Oh man, you want to start with fitness or nutrition? I want to say jiu-jitsu.
Just pick one.
Let's get fitness on top of my page. So my first prediction for fitness this year, I think odd implement type strength training, like steel maces, sandbags. It's already pretty popular. But I think that popularity is going to increase. That is my prediction.
It's one of your predictions?
Yep. I think people are going to like it more. They're going to find out how great it is. And
yeah.
That's my first one.
Okay. It's good.
No,
man, it's good. That's one of my predictions. One of my predictions was that the steel mace in particular is going to become more popular with grapplers. And really it's going to reclaim its rightful place as the training tool of choice for grapplers. Again, I know I have beat this subject to death a little bit. Again, people are going to think I'm a kettlebell hater, but really, like, you look back through history, and it's been the mace has been associated more with training for grapplers and combat than the kettlebell has, and so I think that it's going to be just continuing to gain popularity. I don't think it's going to take over. I think it's going to be one of those trends that, within the next like 5 years or so, more, it's going to get kind of that point where it's not going to be so underground. You just look at kettlebells, right? Like,
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, anyone who's around for kettlebells, like, I first came across kettlebells. I remember getting, I was working at the International Sports Sciences Association. It's one of the big alphabet soup personal training certification groups. And we would get sent books to review and check out and stuff. And I got Pavel Tsatsoulin's Power to the People came across my desk. And I remember looking at it, and my first initial response was like, this is bullshit is this? I wanted to hate it. Because here's this like bare-chested, hairy-chested fucking Russian dude, puffing his chest out. He's all, power to the people, comrades. And it flew in the face of all the stuff that I thought that I knew. But man, then I got into it. We talked about this actually in episode 9. Like, sometimes you got to read stuff that you think that you hate just so that you can challenge it and either come out the other side going like, yeah, that sucks ass. And I know it does because I had read up on it and here's why. Or you come out the other side going like, oh, okay, like there's more to this than I thought there was. And that was one of those moments, man, like when I got done with that book. And so I was kind of following Pavel and got sucked into that in the late 90s. And so he was, the RKC and the kettlebell stuff was coming around then. I didn't actually like break down and buy my first kettlebell until like the early 2000s. But yeah, if anyone was around for that, I think it's going to follow the same thing where it's this super underground thing that you hear about here and there. You see it's going to get a little more popular. But man, eventually, in fucking 10, 15 years, they're going to be selling pink ones at Walmart.
Well, and that's it, because, it's kind of the same process for me. Is I think I bought my first kettlebell in, like, say, early 2000s. I don't know what year it was. And I would actually take it I was working out at a powerhouse gym at the time back in Flint, Michigan. And I was the crazy fucking guy that would take my own kettlebell into the gym with me. Mm-hmm. And I got yelled at a couple times until they said, but they didn't have any kettlebells there, and they had never seen it. And the people, I'd be over there doing my thing, doing snatches and swings or whatever. And at first they frowned on it, and then I got kicked out of there. Like, not kicked out, but they're like, dude, you can't bring in your own shit.
Yeah.
But then eventually they got to know me, and they're like, all right, you're not gonna kill yourself. But I was the weirdo. But now you go to pretty much any gym, any big Globo gym, and they got racks full of kettlebells
now, yeah.
And so that was, let's just say 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I was the weirdo, and then now...
Yeah, every 5 years, basically, you're going to see like a level of popularity. I mean, anybody's read Malcolm Gladwell's book, The Tipping Point? He talks about this, like, you get these early adopters who are, on the cutting edge of stuff, and they're going to be the first ones to pick it up, and then based on their experience and feedback, you're going to get that next level of people, and eventually it's going to be like, your mailman's going to be talking about it, kind of thing. So everything kind of follows that trend. I think the steel mace is just going to continue its march along that trend to regaining more popularity with grapplers especially. So it's such a good training tool for them. And I like the sandbags and the Indian clubs too. I just think that the steel mace has the potential, I think, to kind of break through to that next level of popularity faster than those other tools. And the sandbag, I got to say, sandbag's been around for a long time.
Sandbag's pretty popular. There's a lot of different companies that make them.
It is, but it's not. You know what I mean? Like, and I've actually talked with some people about this before. Dan John, again, the strength coach I reference a lot, he's got this idea that he calls the killer application idea for each training tool. Like, what is the one or two things that this does better than any other tool that you have to have? And like, that's one of the things that the kettlebell did. If you think about the kettlebell, they're like, oh, you can do a lot with it. But really, when you boil it down to it, what sold the kettlebell was swings, Turkish get-ups, goblet squats, clean and press, like basically 3 to 5 exercises. That's what, and the selling point was, you just need to do these 5 things. And the kettlebell does them better than other things, so you need them. And again, we can argue whether that's actually true or not. But I think that's the downfall of the sandbag is the people who are behind the sandbag. They keep trying to treat it like this Swiss Army knife thing, and they're always like, look at how many thousands of cool things you can do with this, rather than boiling it down and saying, like, look, sandbag Turkish get-ups, you can't do that with any other training tool. You have to have a sandbag, because you have to be doing sandbag Turkish get-ups if you're a grappler. You have to be doing... I don't know, like, there's, what are the top, 1 to 3 things that you should be focusing on? And I think the mace, just kind of getting back to, our prediction, if anything's going to hold the mace back, I feel like it has gotten caught up a little bit in that trend of everything has to be everything to everybody. And so it's like the mace, you can do this and that. Look at how many hundreds of exercises you can do and create these flows, and you can do strength and cardio and blah, blah, blah. And I think that if anything, that's going to be the downfall, like why it won't break through. It'll be kind of like the sandbag and mired in this, kind of popular but not really popular category, is because people don't really boil down and say, no, man, you need to be focusing on your 10 and 2s and Mace 360s, your side load lunge to uppercut, your windmill things, stick windmill things with it. So it's like, what are those 3 to 5 things that the Mace does better than any other training tool that you have to have it for? And that's what the Mace community should be focusing on communicating to the fitness community at large, and especially to grapplers as you're getting into specific communities and letting them know, like, hey, here's how these exercises are going to specifically benefit you. And so anyways, I just see a lot of training tools, man, that just get marketed. I just think it's one of those things.
They try to be too much.
Yeah.
I mean, all those things are there, but it's kind of that day and age we're in, where we've talked about it before. Like, there's so much information out there that you just get blasted with a fire hose.
Yeah.
And it's just too much.
And people think that that's what you want. And so they're like, hey, man, look how many things you can do. That's the age we're in, is like you have to blast people in the face with a fire hose of information rather than just drip them a few really important things. So, yeah, anyway.
Steel Mace,
man.
You narrowed it down, but I said I'd implement strength training. But
yeah, no, I think they're all, like I said, I think they're going to continue that trend. But I think the Steel Mace in particular has the potential to kind of to break through. But
I could see that.
Yeah. I mean, I love the Indian Club stuff.
The Indian Club stuff's fun.
A lot of fun. But I will say that it's man, if the Mace requires a level of just kind of coordination, then the Indian Clubs require that times 2.
Yes.
And I think that if anything, that's what's going to hold the Indian Clubs back from like gaining that level of popularity, because they can be you have to be open to getting pretty frustrated with them the first few times you mess with them, because you're doing things with your body that you're not used to doing, and moving your arms in ways. And
I come across that. I like it. Like I'll go, because there's a few people that have some really good YouTube videos about different Indian Club moves, and I'll go check, like, I want to play with a different flow today, so I'll jump on YouTube and I'll find a couple. I'm like, that flow, and I'll watch it like half a dozen times, like, and I think I got it in my head, and then I'll head out to my garage and I'll start trying to do it, and I'm like, good lord, yeah, like, what is going on here? Why can't I do it? So then I have to go grab my phone or my freaking iPad, bring it out to the garage, and actually hit play, and then try to, and then so there is definitely a significant learning curve there. Yeah, right? It's fun. It's a challenge.
It's fun. I like it.
But like, I agree. It's good. It's not as popular. It's going to hinder it from being like the next big thing. So
But
you're not going to see Indian Clubs in Gold's Gym for a long time.
No, man. No. I mean,
for a long time.
I mean, even Maces, I got to say,
it's going to be a long time.
That's going to be tough to. I don't know. I mean, if kettlebells are dangerous, like the Mace is definitely, it's a fucking weapon.
It's a straight up weapon. It looks like a weapon.
I could just see like some dipshit walking into frickin' Globo Gym on his first day, January 2nd, and like, what is this new thing here?
Start
like
swinging it around,
like lawsuits flying. So anyways, that'll be interesting. But so cool. All right, Steel Mace. Cool. Kind of odd implement stuff. All right.
You want me to go with my next one? I have about 4 or 5 predictions for each category.
Yeah.
You want me to just run down them, or you want to do the next one?
No, man, I'll do next one.
All
right. So in my fitness category, since we already covered the Steel Mace one, I think that crawling and other ground-based kind of quote-unquote play is going to really continue to gain popularity. And it's one of those things, I think that you and I are kind of plugged into this stuff, so sometimes we forget that a lot of things that we're like, crawling, that's, everybody knows about crawling, and it's like, dude, there's still so many people that don't. Like, you really kind of have to be near the bleeding edge of what's happening in the fitness world to have a lot of exposure to the crawling and the ground-based play movements and things. So things like MoveNat, the Ido Portal, and
there's another guy that's pretty popular. I forget his name right now.
Yeah, I mean, even stuff like gymnastic or gold medal bodies. They do a lot of gymnastics stuff, but floor work, and there's definitely a lot of crawling and stuff with that. So I kind of see that, like the play type stuff, because again, like, you're learning a skill, and so much of our workouts for so long have tried to be this like A plus B equals C. Like, if you're going to do this, you're going to do 3 sets of 10 reps with this much weight, and things like crawling and working on different just kind of movement skills on the ground. They're really hard to fit into that box like that, and so they don't fit real neatly into the current fitness boxes. But I think they're going to continue to gain more popularity, and the fitness world is going to eventually have to figure out how to create a box for them.
It'll come. Yeah, somebody will figure out something. I think part of what holds some of that stuff back is people are they're such in the mindset of like having to quantify it somehow. Like I need to know if I'm improving, so I need to know how many reps I can get. And it's hard to do that with that play-based training.
Yeah.
It's so... That
it's
kind
important, though, man.
So it is important. I agree. It's very important. But I think that's what kind of turns some people off about it. They don't have a way to quantify it.
Yeah.
So there's not, I got 12 reps today instead of, 10 yesterday, so I'm doing better, So it's a little funny,
Yeah, but I saw, even, a couple days ago, I saw Rafael Lovato Jr. post something about starting to work with
does a lot of that
kind
of
a movement expert, so... it's definitely starting to gain more popularity. I mean, Conor McGregor has famously been working with Ido Portal and some of his fight preparations.
I had a request this morning before our Grumpy Guy Fit class to teach everybody the Conor McGregor rubber arm.
Oh, man, I'm still working on that one myself.
I told him that wasn't day one material.
It's not, man.
That's not. You got to work up to the Conor McGregor rubber arm.
That's right. But I'm just saying. So I think that among grapplers and fighters, especially at the highest levels, this stuff is starting to become more popular, and you're just going to see the dissemination of it. But I mean, really, it's nothing new. This is, the Gracies were famous for their gymnastica natural. I mean, when you look at that, it's like, oh, well, it's just like people thought UFC was new, and it's like, no, those motherfuckers were just doing Valle Tudo forever. It's like people think this ground-based movement play stuff is new, and it's like, no, man, they were doing that gymnastica natural in Brazil for a long time.
Look at a lot of the old training videos of Rickson. He was he was the best in the family, and that guy was always constantly working on his movement and yoga. And balance beam work. You see him, all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah, and it was a lot of play. It's a lot of play-based training where you're not playing, but you're having fun. You're not worried about sets and reps. Like you're focusing on the moment and what's going on rather than like some external thing like how many reps am I doing and stuff like that. And so it's really powerful stuff that goes back. I mean, crawling just by itself, I'm of the opinion that crawling is some of the best mobility work you can do. Like I have this whole theory that I have cooked up called like authentic movement challenges versus made up gym bullshit. And your brain, like again, I when you dig into how the brain works, and we're born with these neural networks that are the result of thousands and thousands and thousands of years of development. That's why all kids go through the same developmental sequence when they're learning to walk and stuff like that. So throwing, running, all of these things are basic movement skills that all humans around the planet, doesn't matter where you were born, you share. And these things are authentic movement challenges. These things are embedded in our brain. And so, if you don't have good mobility, a lot of times that'll show up in the groundwork. You get on the ground to start moving around and crawling, and it's not working. And it's because you're tight, your hips are tight, your T-spine's tight, core's not strong, things aren't linked up, and but your brain recognizes like, oh, I used to be able to do this, because you could do it as a kid. So you're not learning something new, you're just trying to remember something you forgot. And it also is like firing off these neural networks that are like deeply embedded. It's like, oh, I should be able to do this. It's not normal that I can't. And it's going to be way more apt, way more willing to mobilize its limited energy reserves to make changes when presented with an authentic movement challenge. Like the body doesn't want to change, right? That's why I like working out and stuff so hard, because you have to really convince it to change, because it takes a lot of energy to change. The other side of that is like what I call the made up gym bullshit, where you're just in the gym and you're doing some hamstring stretches, and you're doing some things in the gym that kind of are attacking these things from different angles, but they're not really presenting the brain with this authentic movement challenge that crawling does. And so when you get on the ground and you're crawling, man, you're just firing off parts in your brain and challenging it in ways that you just can't replicate from just standing on the ground in the gym or doing stretching or something like that. So it's just, I think that if you're not doing crawling, and you're missing out so much on so much mobility work and core work and stuff like that. So it's hugely important, especially for jiu-jitsu guys. God damn, if you can't crawl, you do a basic crab walk or bear crawl, you're struggling. Man, that you're moving inefficiently on the mat. There's just no way around it.
It's really surprising. I'll teach a beginner jiu-jitsu class, and lots of times I'll have them do some animal type crawls, usually the basic ones, usually bear crawl, inchworm, some real simple ones, just to get people warmed up. And you get new people that come in and that haven't maybe been real physical, and they have lost that skill altogether. And it's holy moly, and then it's super taxing for them. I was teaching beginner class last night, and we had this lady in there. And she was trying hard. She was doing good, but one trip down the mat. And how long is that? 20 feet?
Something like
that, right? Yeah. And she was struggling to get down the mat with first the basic inchworm, and then I think I had him do bear crawl. And I wasn't even nitpicking the technique.
Yeah.
I just showed him what I wanted him to do. Yeah. In here, this is what you guys should look like. Let me see your interpretation of it.
Exactly. Whatever that means to you.
Whatever that means to you, man. Just don't hurt yourself. And one, their interpretation of it was okay,
interesting.
Just get down the mat, we're good. But just getting down the mat was a struggle, and I was so that shows you right there, it's
Well, that's
and it shouldn't be a struggle. You should just be able to get on the ground and crawl around and not be really physically taxing.
No. And what's funny though is how many people will experience that, and then they'll be like, man, that's just too hard. I don't want to do that. I need to go to the gym and work on my cardio and strength. You know what I mean? It's dude, if crawling across the floor is making you huff and puff, that's some of the best cardio work you can do. That is cardio work. When you're that is also something, man. People don't realize your brain gets more efficient at the stuff that you do all the time. So that's one of the reasons, if you don't crawl ever, you get down on the ground, you're so inefficient at it. Your brain is using so much energy to try to figure out what to do. Your muscles are inefficient. Everything's inefficient. You're actually burning way more calories, and your cardio system is working way harder doing something that you're not used to doing than it is working hard at something that it's used to. So, going for another run or doing another cardio class or something like that, trying to build your cardio that you've done 100 times before, and neglecting doing your crawling when the crawling is making you huff and puff like crazy.
That Stairmaster ain't gonna help you.
God, yeah, it's putting it's not. It's just interesting how people categorize the box that they have. This is cardio training, and they have this box for it, and this is what fits inside the cardio training box, and they can't view how something else could challenge their cardio system. Crawling's cardio training. Hell yeah, dude! Set a timer for 10 minutes. Just crawling across the ground in different ways, and you're gonna be spent, surprisingly so. So, anyways, it's such a great thing. But I think that's another fitness trend that you're gonna see more and more, people getting plugged into. So,
that was one of mine. So that was I worded it different, but I just said yoga / mobility. Yeah, and that's really what I meant. Is people I think that trend is going to keep going. People understanding the benefit of just being more mobile.
Yeah. Now, I would argue, actually, that's a different trend. Because I have that as part of a third one. Yeah. I'm going to skip. I'll go ahead and throw that one out there. Because you touched on it.
You split it up.
I think they're similar.
They're similar. So, in my mind, I was kind of saying the same thing.
Yeah. Well, see, I'm saying crawling and the play-based training is going to become more popular. And one of the reasons that it's so important that you do it is because it helps improve your mobility. And one of your predictions is that the value of mobility is going to become more and more recognized, which is going to kind of add to why more people are crawling.
Because they're understanding that mobility is important. How much better they feel by improving their mobility.
Yeah.
And I think crawling's like a subset of that. They see mobility as a problem, my mobility sucks. Crawling's gonna help me improve that.
Yoga will help.
Or whatever.
Yeah. But I would say mobility actually kind of one of my other predictions is like recovery will become more respected. And so in that, I think like yoga, yoga is kind of, I would argue like that's like a recovery from jiu-jitsu. It's going to help you decrease stress. We've talked about this before, how if you look at activities that add stress to the system and activities that decrease and take stress away from the system, and you're trying to strike that balance. And the problem that we run into is that, without respecting recovery, we're just always adding tension to the system. Everything that we do is adding tension. And so the recovery stuff, things like yoga, things like mobility work, another thing, Joel Jamieson's role, famous for helping develop the technology behind HRV, monitoring his Bioforce HRV monitor and the stuff that you can do with that. But again, you look at the cutting edge of what the athletes at the top are doing, and they're doing this stuff. They're monitoring their heart rate variability, which is what HRV stands for, and then changing their training if needed based on where they are, where their recovery status is for that day, and understanding the importance of things like yoga and mobility work, and even like going for walks. People dismiss walking as like, that's just too easy. It's like, man, that's like good recovery cardio right there, and it's just healthy for the body. Like, we're made to walk.
That's part of the reason like I like playing disc golf.
Yeah,
because going out for a walk isn't always great. It's a little boring sometimes. Yeah. And that's really what disc golf is. It's you're walking,
we're throwing
something. You gotta. Yeah. I'm terrible, so I freaking throw the disc way off in the woods, and I got to go extra hiking.
We're walking way more than a pro
is. Way more than you should have to be walking, which is good. So I like the fact that I'm terrible. I'm getting a little more exercise out of it.
Yeah.
So that's really what that is.
No, for sure. Like, I look at disc golf as a recovery.
It's a recovery activity. Yep.
For me. Exactly. I'm not out there trying to add. Yeah. So, but anyways, I think I just kind of,
You went into like another layer deeper than what I kind of broad spectrum.
Similar things. I agree with you. I think the mobility stuff, because yoga is becoming like so much more popular with people, and you've got that. What is that?
The Ramwad app.
Yep.
There's a few different ones out there. That one's really good. And Ramwad, guys, is it's ROMWOD, and it stands for range of motion workout of the day.
Yeah.
So those subscription service, I think it's like $13.95 a month or $14.95. And they put out every week. They have seven stretching / mobility routines, and it's great, dude. You just log in, and obviously you can do them in order, whatever day. Today's Saturday. You can go pick the Saturday one, or if you don't really like what they're doing that day, pick a different one. And once a week they have a warrior routine, which is like 45 minutes. It's pretty intense, but usually they're 20 minutes every day, 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's nice, man. I like it.
Yeah. I mean,
that way you don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
You just
it's kind of
hit play and follow along, man.
Yeah, that's right, man. What the mobility WOD? I think that was like the original.
That's the Kelly Starrett one.
Yeah. So again, if you're like some of these trends, like if you're really like into this stuff and you're on like the cutting edge of it, like some of this stuff you're like, I've heard this for a couple years, but that's the thing, man. Like, you're probably one of those early adopters who's picked this up ahead of the curve. So but yeah, I think that it's definitely going to continue to gain popularity, and you're going to see people respecting it more. So yeah, no, I think it's interesting how we're having a lot of the same predictions here.
So then, kind of on that note, I'll skip to this one.
I was going to add too, like with the recovery stuff, I had it written down here. Stuff like cryotherapy.
Yep.
And also infrared saunas.
Yep.
So again, these are just things that, again, they're gaining popularity. You've probably heard of it.
Keep increasing.
But yeah, they're just going to keep increasing, man. Float tanks, things that are again, because just for so long we didn't respect what that other side, the things that take stress away from the system can do for us. We were talking about it in episode 9 of the last podcast about the generation we grew up in, man. The bodybuilder, no pain, no gain, and everything's got to be hard. So yeah, no, those are just some of the other tools that I think will start to gain popularity. But anyway, so how about it?
So then I think the next one is, I had it written down as like group training / personal training / online. So I think the online training is going to it's already pretty popular.
Yeah.
Like I just talked about, the Ramwad. So stuff along that line. Well, anyways, but there's that exercise bike out there now that you got that big ass monitor on the front of it.
Oh, the Peloton
thing.
Yeah,
the Peloton, and you like, guess I haven't used it, but I was looking at it to where you like log in and you can follow a spin class to some like instructor at some big spin studio in New York City.
Yeah.
So, and then being that the technology's advancing,
on demand and streaming technology is
I think that's gonna be, because I see
we're gonna be streaming Grumpy Guy Fit here soon.
Yeah. And
Facebook Live.
And if you look, a lot of your jiu-jitsu instructionals nowadays, and the way I choose to purchase them, is the downloadable files.
Yeah.
Man, I don't like. Dude, don't send me DVDs.
Yeah.
I don't want this stupid disc I got to shove in a machine to watch. Like, I just want to fire
it to me right now.
Yeah, just give it to me right now, man. And I can just
the other thing
play.
too is you can get. I know on Chrome there's a extension, whatever add-on thing, that you can increase the speed of any video that's playing. And so I can increase the speed to 2 times the normal speed, and you can still understand what they're saying and fully see what's going on, or you can decrease it down to like 1.5. But yeah, because then if it's a 10-minute clip, I can watch it in 5 minutes. I can watch a 60-minute.
Get what you just want out of
it. Yeah, in 30 minutes. And so, that's actually a little hack that a buddy of mine turned me on to that I've been using a lot. But yeah, in the same way, like I like to order them online because then I can use those tools that'll help me watch them more efficiently.
You can take it with you. If you don't want to download the whole instruction on your phone, you can. A lot of times you can just take like one of the videos or whatever and save it to your phone. Then that way, when you take it to the gym, you have it
in Dropbox.
Put it in Dropbox or Google Drive or whatever, and you get to the gym like, this is what I'm gonna drill today.
I've done that before.
Several times. Yeah, dude. And then you get there and you start drilling it. Like, man, something doesn't feel right. Boom, you pull it up, you look at it. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And that's already fairly popular. And I just think shit's gonna keep going that way.
Yeah. No.
I don't know what like the next manifestation of that is with tech. I'm not a tech guru, but I think it's going to keep heading that way.
No, I agree, man. I agree. I think I'd say like probably if I was going to take a stab at that, I'd say like the next trend's going to be the streaming on demand like fitness classes. So, because it's basically what they're doing with the spin class,
right?
Or with the Peloton thing, it's just they're making these spin classes available on demand or through live streaming. And so, I think you're just going to see a continuation of that trend and seeing people, whoever hops on they kind of had it. What was was it the Daily Burn or? Because they've had some
they have stuff like that.
Yeah, they've had some things.
They've come out with it, but they haven't.
The problem is sometimes these things come out ahead of their time.
They've been semi-popular, but they haven't like really taken off.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I will say like it's an interesting dichotomy of the web, because the web is in a lot of ways like undervalued information, because information is so ubiquitous and it's free that it makes legitimate information that's a little more specialized less valuable, because people just are like, well, I get so much for free, why should I have to pay for this? And so I've seen that a lot in the online fitness world. So I agree with you. So I'm going to be interested to kind of see the business models that are used that allow people to achieve that, because it's kind of like CrossFits, right? Like the problem with the CrossFit model was that they had no territorial protection. Like, you could have somebody pay the freaking, license fee and open up a gym down the street from you. And all of a sudden they were like Starbucks, and there's just so many of them that they had to start undercutting each other. And now they're like, this dude's charging $99, well, I'm charging $89. Oh yeah, well, and then no one could stay in business. I mean, we've personally seen, in the last year we saw 2 CrossFits go out of business.
Yep.
Around here.
Well, and we live in a pretty small valley. I mean, what's the population here in the valley? 60,000 people, 70,000 people. I don't know exactly, but there's. I mean, at its height, I think there was like 5 CrossFit gyms.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
I know, but the thing is, not hammering, on CrossFit. It's more that what the problem is when there's more supply than demand, and when a lot of the supply is low quality. Because that was another problem that CrossFits would run into, is you would get these trainers that had very little experience opening gyms. And that's the same thing too. I see it's hilarious. I was joking with someone the other day. I was like, man, it used to be you'd get your certification, and the next thing you did was go to Globo Gym, wherever it was, 24-hour fitness or Gold's Gym, whatever it was, and you get a job as a fucking floor trainer. And you'd go around and you rack weights, and you would just learn how to talk to people and spot people, and then you'd get a few clients, and you'd cut your teeth on their dime, and hopefully you'd get good enough to where you could start to get a few private clients on your side. And so there's this whole process, so that by the time you got to the point where you wrote a book, which was what you used to do before the internet, but even after the internet came along for a while, it was like people who had experience and had proven results were then sharing their systems online. And now it's like, oh, you got your certification last weekend? Do you have your website? What's your e-product that you're going to sell? Oh, you don't have any clients? That's okay. I'll help you get online clients. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute, man. Wait a minute. So I see, just kind of from my end, the fitness marketing side, I see an interesting situation brewing where there's a lot more supply than demand, and a lot of the supply is very low quality. And so, but I think that there is a demand for high quality stuff. So that's why I'm like, I'm interested to see where it goes, man. That's it.
I am too. Again, my predictions, I try to keep them pretty general, just because I figure they're going to be wrong.
So, what you do is you keep them general so they have as much chance to be right as possible.
That way,
they're like horoscopes, man.
At the end of the year, I can massage what I'm saying on this podcast.
Right.
Be like, look, I was fucking right.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm trying not to paint myself into the corner.
Right. Too many specifics.
That's right, man. Yep. That's right. Yeah. I got a method to my madness.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Okay.
I got one more for the fitness. You got?
No, man. Hit it up, dude.
So this was kind of a little wishful thinking.
That's all right.
And not that I don't really. It's
our podcast. We can do what we want.
I don't really use them a lot, but I think the wearable technology, I would like to see it improve. And what I mean by wearables, well, like the first iteration of that was like your Fitbits.
Yeah.
People started wearing Fitbits. They're still around. People still like those things. Now you got the Apple Watch, which tracks a lot of shit. Kind of cool. But now they're making, I don't think I'm shaking the thing out of
fucking shaking Snakey.
I'm getting Snakey's crate over here, freaking earthquake. But anyways, now a lot of companies are actually coming out with like clothes that track technology are pretty cool. Because at first they had the Nike shoes, and those things connect to your goddamn Apple Watch. So that's kind of cool. And you see it go in a cool direction. I don't know where it's going to go, and I would like to see it. I mean, I haven't even bought any of this shit because I don't really want to use it. But I think it's kind of cool, like the shirts that track shit. You know, and like I don't know. I would like to see the technology get a little bit better and I don't know, provide some useful information.
Yeah.
Instead of just being a $150 T-shirt that tells you you're sweating enough.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, I agree with you. Well, but I think that wearable technology is bullshit. It's the devil.
Yeah.
Quote fucking. Waterboard.
I think
it has its pluses and minuses. It's like anything else. Like I think for a small population, that being able to track that kind of data on that level is valuable. I think for the vast majority of people, it's just mental masturbation. That's all it is. And this whole idea of beat yesterday, like, God damn it, really? Like, we got to go through this again? It's fucking gym math 101. Like, you can't add 5 pounds every week to your squat. You know what I mean? Like, that's not how it works. Like, you can't beat yesterday every day. Eventually, you're going to get to the point where you're trying to maintain, not beat. And just having something that reinforces what I think is a negative mindset to instill in people, it's adding to the problem. Because then again, what happens if you don't beat yesterday, right? Oh, you suck and you shouldn't even try because you can't beat yesterday. And that's how I see this stuff being used.
That's how it gets used a lot. And I mean, this is kind of, we'll end up getting into another subject, but because then you're not exercising in your body anymore, you're exercising your ego.
Yeah,
that's really what it is. Yeah, that's your reps. Oh, like I gotta do more reps. I gotta beat this number. Like I think you're missing the point here, man. I think that's what happens with a lot of those wearables.
Yeah,
they have their place. So for example, like as simple as the Fitbits or something tracking your steps. Like if you get somebody that's not physical at all and they're just getting started into something, it kind of gives it like...
Well, it gives them feedback. They don't realize like, how little
they're moving. Yeah. And so I can see the benefit in that. Because it's going to make them...
But they have these things called pedometers. They cost a fucking quarter as much. But anyway,
it's not as cool as an Apple Watch.
Not as cool as an Apple Watch.
Not as cool as an $800 Apple Watch. That connects and tells me everything. And I can change the screen.
You can order your freaking toilet paper from Amazon right through it. Right there.
I get my text messages, everything.
I know, all right.
But anyways, it makes them be more mindful. Like they look at their, thing and they're short 1,000 steps. So instead of driving around the parking lot and finding the extra close spot, they'll just park out a little further.
Yeah.
So there's benefit to it.
That's the theory.
It works out when someone gets that new Fitbit. That's how it works out for about a month.
Yeah.
For about a month.
About how long you can beat yesterday.
Yeah. And then after that, they stop wearing it one day. Then it goes 2 days. Yeah. And the next thing you know, they lost it. So it's. Yeah. I don't know. Like it's kind of wishful thinking. Like I just hope the technology gets freaking awesome somewhere, man. Like.
Yeah, I mean,
but I don't know what that awesome means.
Yeah,
I'm kind of hoping
those numbers, man, are so tough because you need. It's more trends that you want to look at than like acute things, and that was a thing in working with high level mountain bikers that I had to explain to them. Like, hey, man, sometimes you just have a bad day. Like, there's nothing more to it. Again, Dan John calls it the what the heck effect. Like, you just sometimes sport and things just. It's like, what the heck was that? Where did that performance come from? Why? I knew a guy who said he won a national level cross country race after eating some Taco Bell. It's like, what the heck's that about? Like, that's not normal, But so, those using those things to track trends over time, I think are good. But I think too many people place too much stock in the immediacy of those numbers and
most of the time. I think I don't know if we've talked about this on a podcast before. I know you and I have had this conversation. Most of the time, all the information you get from that stuff, I hate to be an asshole, but people aren't intelligent enough to know what to do with it.
Yeah.
If you get some real high-tech thing that's tracking all this shit for you, that's great. You have a whole bunch of information. But if you're not a really trained person or educated person in that field, what are you going to do with all that information?
I know.
Okay, go figure out your VO2 max. Go figure out your BMI. You go yada yada yada. You get all these numbers.
Yeah.
And unless you got somebody that's pretty smart and skilled with all this stuff, you're not doing yourself any goddamn good, anyways, man.
No, I see that.
Save your money on that stuff and buy a Mace.
Even though it will become more popular. It will. I totally agree with you, man. It will,
just because we're so technology driven.
Yeah, and there's so much money to be had, and that's what the market's going to drive. But and I agree with you. But the thing is, there is that percentage. There is, Olympic level athletes, professional athletes, like these guys, like they can really benefit from this stuff, but. Man, your average freaking 40-something-year-old jiu-jitsu guy who's just, trying to survive in a fucking 20-year-old black belt's world. Yeah, man, like we're just trying to, hey, how do I feel today? It's like the old thing, like how do you know what the weather's like without TV? Open the fucking window and take a look, you know what I mean? So like, how do I know how I'm doing without that technology? Like, I don't know, how do you feel? Like, how did you sleep last night? Like there's a lot of things that you can get, and a lot of data that you can get from just some plain observations. How's your appetite? How's your muscle soreness? So, and these are things that you really, like, these things can't track. Like, that's the other problem I see with this wearable technology, and then we'll move on to our next one, is that the problem with science is that what they can measure, they pretend is the most important thing. So the stuff that wearable technology can measure is being promoted as the most important stuff to measure.
Of course.
Because that's all they can measure.
That's what they can measure, and that's... Yeah.
Right, but there's so much that they can't measure that is just as, if not more important. So again, I kind of see this stuff taking people's focus off of things that are really important, because they get the impression that it's not important because you can't measure it on a Fitbit. So, anyways. So, all right. Now we've beat that fucking horse to death.
All right, we made it through what I was. Okay, so do you have any more fitness
predictions? No, man, no. My next two kind of fall into the nutrition category.
Right, let's get into that.
Let's get into nutrition.
Have at it.
Okay, me?
Yep.
All right. So this is a little bit of a wishful thinking thing in a way, but I do think it's a trend that maybe not this year, but I think in the next like 2-3 years, people are definitely going to be seeing more and hearing more of. Vitamin K2, especially K2 with D3. I think that that's a supplement that, like I said, it may not be this year, but in the next few years, people are going to be hearing a lot more of, and it's going to start being labeled like one of these must-use supplements. That's for people that don't know, K2 is a specific form of vitamin K. It's not vitamin K. It's gotten you get it from fermented foods, which a lot of people on a Western diet don't get enough of. What it does is it helps shuttle the calcium that you take in away from your heart and towards your bones and joints. And so it makes sure that your bones and joints are getting that, and it's not going to the heart and causing potential problems there. So it's also, vitamin D, if you haven't, haven't been under a rock. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff that goes with vitamin D, mental health, immune system, brain function, stuff like that. So this is a supplement that I got turned on to by a nutritionist friend of mine who told me the same thing about 1.5 years ago. I was like, man, this is going to be one of those supplements that you're going to start hearing more and more about. The research behind it is pretty compelling. And so I got into it, and personally I found it was super helpful for my elbows and my hands, and which get really sore and beat up from doing jiu-jitsu. And inflammation, that's the other thing that K2 does, is it helps with overall body inflammation. So a lot of these things are things that jiu-jitsu guys suffer from chronically, man. So you add it all up, it's like, man, it helps bone health, joint health. It's helping with chronic inflammation. The D3 is helping with immune function, helping with just brain function. It also helps with cardiovascular health. There's just this huge laundry list of taking these two things together, because that's the other thing, is it's not just taking K2 by itself. Like, these two things work synergistically, and so it's taking both of them together in the right ratios that helps you get the benefits from both. But yeah, I mean, I've been using it. I like it a lot. It's hilarious as I stopped taking it for the last month. Just, man, it's hilarious, man. It's like anything else. You sometimes you forget like why you were doing something until you stop doing it. Right? And I was like, man, was that stuff really working? And so anyways, I got to get back on it. But for grapplers, man, especially like older grapplers, I think that stuff's going to start, because vitamin D is pretty popular among grapplers. I think, a lot of people in the jiu-jitsu community are pretty aware of what it does, but I think the K2 is going to start catching up, and people are going to realize I need to start taking these things together to kind of get the benefits. So anyways, that's one of my nutrition.
Well, and that covers one of mine. Again, I kept mine more broad so I can massage it into being true later this year. Right, yeah. You narrowed it down.
I know. I'm pretty cornered on that one.
You are. That's good, though, because I wrote one of my predictions as supplement simplification. I kind of see the trend. I don't know what I'm basing this in.
I don't either, dude. So have you been to GNC lately?
Yes. No, I haven't. But I know. I think, again, this might be wishful thinking. I think people are going to keep heading in the direction of, because there's so many different things you can take. You need a pre-workout, you need a post-workout, you need nootropics, you need probiotics, all this shit, dude. And I think people are going to be like, all right, man, let's back up. Let's see what each one's doing for me. Let's kind of chill out for like a month, like no supplements, reintroduce one, and see if it's doing anything for me. Yeah. And then just simply, that's how I do it.
Yeah. And that's the best way to do it.
And that's how I don't take a ton of supplements.
Yeah, me neither.
I really don't.
I'm a recovering supplement holic, bro.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I used to drop
hundreds of dollars a month.
Gold Card Tuesday, bro? Oh yeah. Dude. How pissed were you if you missed your Gold Card Tuesday?
Oh, yeah, man. And then once online shopping started getting, God, what was the big supplement? Man, was it Supplement Warehouse?
I don't know. I recovered before the internet hit.
Once everything started going online, I think it was Supplement Warehouse, man. I'm drawing a blank that I used to just order the shit out of, dude. But anyways, yeah, like, I think people are kind of heading that direction. Like, they're going to narrow it down to like 2, 3, 4 supplements they take on a regular basis. And that's it. That's my hope anyway. I think maybe it might be more.
It's more your hope.
It's more.
I don't know what you're basing that on, bro. Because the problem is, like, what fuels the supplement industry is the quick fix.
Oh yeah.
And that's what people are looking for. You know, they're getting
the answer in the bottle.
Yeah. The pill something that's gonna make it easier, or just kind of that quick fix thing. And man, the market for that is inexhaustible.
It's never good. That'll never go away.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
The thing I agree with you. I think that enlightened people will continue down that path. I think if you talk to a lot of people, they'll have had a similar experience where they're like, dude, I'm stronger and healthier now than when I was spending hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on supplements. And I remember for me, I went through, my early 20s, like a lot of people, just varying income levels with jobs, depending upon what I got fired from last. But anyways, so, I went through a period where I had some money and I spent a bunch of money at GNC. And then I went through a period where I didn't have as much money and I wasn't spending it. And God damn it, if I was like, dude, what is the deal? Like, I'm just as strong, nothing really changed. And so, I think that a lot of people eventually go through that cycle. You start out, God, I remember
just taking everything, dude. Everything.
Dude, everything.
I swear to God, I've tried every supplement out there.
Yeah.
Man. I'm certain at one point in time.
Yeah. I mean, dude, when creatine came out and it was like, oh, something that actually works.
Yep.
Oh, whoa, what is this stuff? And then that, then they try to fucking sell so much other bullshit based on the coattails of that. Yep. But, I'd like to agree with you, but I think that's going to be one we're going to be looking back on and go like, no.
It didn't pan out.
It's
more about wishful thinking. That's okay, man.
So, I mean, if anything, I think that, there's just so much more information coming out. I think we're just going to be getting more supplements, more compounds that people are going to be like, this compound has been shown to do this, so we'll come out with this. And it's, it's interesting, man. I say this with all due respect, but I just finished listening to the latest Dr. Rhonda Patrick interview on the Joe Rogan Experience. And she has to be one of the dumbest smart people that I've ever heard, she's so smart.
So smart, dude.
And then she's like, I didn't realize there was a problem with the shoes. What do you mean with the shoes? Like, Nike was screwing people's feet. What? It's like, wait a minute. How can you tell me the molecule that does this to that in the body and has this downstream effect and blah, 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 blah. So therefore you went out and hunted down some obscure supplement that you're taking, blah, 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 blah. But you don't even know something like that? Like, that's like basic fucking 101, like fitness 101. I mean, on some level, you know what I mean? And so, anyways, my point is, I think that the problem is the supplement industry is fueled by people like that are so focused on the minutia that they lose sight of the forest for sometimes. They're so focused on these little things. And so, man, I kind of see as science continues to expand and find new things and show what new things do. I think we're just going to see more and more
keep going
stuff.
The way it's going.
But most
all
of it's
right, well, maybe
BS,
mine
man.
is more wishful thinking than actual
I'm with
crystal
you,
ball prediction.
I'm with you. I wish that would happen too. But unfortunately, just knowing what I know, and too, just because supplements they pay for so much of the fitness industry. Like those magazines don't make any money.
No, it's all the ads.
It's the ads, and most magazines have a supplement line. And so, anyways, it's
All right.
It's a dirty industry, man.
Next one.
All right, next one. All right, you ready for this one, dude?
Oh, yeah. When you said it like that, I am.
Okay, so this one I'm going out on a limb a little bit here, and this is another one that may not necessarily be over the next year, but I think we're going to start seeing the pendulum swing the other way from anti-sugar, and we're going to start re-recognizing, like, wait a minute, let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like, sugar is actually a performance enhancer. And we don't need to, you know what I mean? Like, if you look at the history of refined sugar was originally a performance enhancer. Like, you had crew, like boating, like back when, that was a huge sport. Track athletes. You had the coaches were giving their athletes sugar, and they were improving their performance. Like, sugar was improving their performance. But this is before refined sugar became ubiquitous. And so that's the problem, is like, it's kind of like the wearable technology. There's a small percentage of the population that can benefit from it. But the problem is when the rest of the population starts trying to emulate that small percentage. So you got people that they don't need the extra sugar. And obviously it's causing a lot of problems. But saying that like sugar's evil and refined sugar should just be like, we never need it and you never should use it, is, I don't think that's necessarily like, yeah, I think it's a little short-sighted, you know. I mean, you could even argue like honey. Honey's obviously
I think it's just because of the pendulum swing. Because as a society, we've gone so far this way and gotten so unhealthy.
Yes.
And a big reason behind that is
the
sugar and the terrible diet mixed with the lack of activity and, you know, a lot of countless other things. But it's so far one way. To get it back to the middle, everybody, we got to go so far the other way.
Yeah. I mean, I see that pendulum eventually swinging, because I see so many people, you know, because like, you know, like yourself, like, you know, you eat really clean. In your mind, part of eating really clean is just not eating refined sugar. Refined sugar is just not an option. But like refined sugar can help you recover from a hard training session, replacing muscle glycogen. It can increase your blood sugar levels pre-training to let you train harder for longer. Like, it can help you train and recover better, right? So like, it's just, but the pendulum has swung so far the one way. I feel like we've thrown the baby out with the bathwater a little bit. We've just demonized sugar to this point where it's like, well, if you're eating sugar, you're obviously a fucking moron. And it's like, wait a minute, man. Let's not go so far. Like, there's a time and place for it.
It's that moderation thing.
It is.
That kind of.
Dude, you can drink too much water. It's called drowning. Yeah. But we don't see people fucking wanting to like just get rid of water. You know what I mean? It's like, no, don't drink so much. And so it's the same thing. I think there's definitely a lot of people that can benefit from not having sugar in their diet. I just think that athletes, I just think, you know, see the trend of athletes who can benefit from sugar and a metabolism that runs on sugar. Like, that's the other thing. You know, we're all talking, become a fat optimized person. You know, when you're you know, on the low carb, high fat diet, the keto diet, you become a fat optimized person. Well, guess what? A lot of sports aren't optimized for, you need glycolytic, you need that engine, man. Like grappling, sprinting, a lot of sports that require any sort of like power and strength require that glycolytic engine to be strong and able to perform. You just cannot do it the same way trying to run on your aerobic system. So it's actually my original freaking article, man, the T Nation, testosterone.net.
Oh yeah.
From way back in the day, and they're still out there. Good old T Nation. But yeah, if you go and do a search, dude, I had 2 articles published on that way back in the day. Yeah, back when it used to be just 5 articles. They only came out once a week, and everyone would run on Fridays. Oh, is it out yet? Is it out yet? So it was like a big deal to get published on T Nation. And that was my first article I wrote and had published there. Was basically because it was a lot of the zone stuff.
Yep.
Remember the 40-30-30, and you want to become a fat optimized athlete. And I was talking to my buddy who was an Olympic weightlifter, and he was eating one of those 40-30-30 bars, and it just hit me. I'm like, well, dude, like, you're a glycolytic athlete. Like, you don't function long enough for your aerobic engine to even get revving during your sport. So why on earth would you want to train your body to optimally preferentially burn fat? Because that's not what your sport needs. So again, I think that was, I think the pendulum will eventually start coming back the other way, and we'll start to recognize that looking at the athlete's needs instead of just making these blanket statements about, you know, what is nutritionally healthy for everyone is going to see the reemergence of sugar.
You're hoping anyway.
That's my hope.
This is a wishful thinking one.
This is why when I eat Oreos after training, no one can yell at me. I'll be like, "Yo, bro, just getting anabolic."
That's funny.
So, anyways,
yeah. So I didn't end up writing this one down, but one thought I had, I kind of see a trend, you know, for this next year is people becoming more intuitive eating. That term's starting to get thrown out there. I'm starting to hear it more in podcasts and reading in articles. But anyway, I mean, I don't want to dive into nutrition too much.
No, man, I think that's an important point. Yeah, go on. Yeah. What's intuitive eating? Like what? Like for people that don't.
So is what my interpretation of that is listening to what your body needs and eating to feed what you're doing.
Oh, groundbreaking shit.
I know, it's fucking unbelievable.
Listening to your body?
Whoa. Paying attention to what you eat, seeing how you feel afterwards, and saying, that sucked, let's not eat that again. Eating what you eat, oh, I feel pretty good, let's put that one down, let's eat that again. Like, as opposed to, oh, I'm keto, so I can only eat this. Or I'm Whole30, I can only eat this. I'm paleo. All these goddamn names and diets.
Boxes, baby. People love their boxes.
People love it, dude. And I'm hoping that people are going to start getting away from that a little bit. But I don't know, people always like that shit because they like to be like, hey, I'm keto, hey, I'm this, hey, I'm that. And
yeah, it kind of helps give them some
I understand it.
Yeah.
But
I feel like it's a lot of things. Like, I think that it's like jiu-jitsu, right? Like, when you start out with jiu-jitsu, we talked about this for white belts, like, stay the fuck off YouTube. Like, don't stray from the path the structure or whatever, the path that your coach has you on. Now, once you've kind of got a little structure and you kind of understand the path a little bit, now you can maybe vary out a little bit and start to maybe, okay, well, I'm going to go down this and start learning some worm guard or whatever the case may be. But I think it's a lot like with nutrition. I think that having some guidelines to start out with to kind of help get you started down the path is good. But I think a lot of people become married. They think it's like a religion, and so they're always, they have to follow that without realizing, like, no, man, like, if you're keto, quote unquote, and you happen to like eat some carbs or whatever, and man, I kind of felt good after that. Like, that's not bad. Like, you don't need to go like repent to the keto gods because you enjoyed eating something that had some carbs in it or something, And
it's funny how fired up people get about that. Like, you start talking about religion, and even this conversation we're having right now, it's very possible that it's gonna ruffle a few feathers.
Yeah,
people get so attached to it.
They do, man.
It's kind of crazy.
They do, but yeah, I think the instinctive eating is really important. I would personally say that the vast majority of the obesity in this country is simply because people are so out of touch with their bodies that they don't even know when they're full.
They don't know
if you did nothing else than just stop eating when you're full, it would just completely change.
It would fix
everything.
So much stuff.
And people don't know it. They don't understand. And there's so much stuff, right? Like, we all grew up in the age when it's like, you better clean your plate. There's starving kids in Africa.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So it's
that was a big rule in my house.
Yeah,
man. If you put it on your plate, you're finishing that.
Yeah.
Don't put it on your plate if you're not going to eat it.
So you're not trained. We weren't trained as kids to eat till we were full. We were trained to eat what was in front of you. And then, also there's just such a trend in the country for eating a lot. Like, that's how you celebrate things, right? Oh, we're going to get together and have, Thanksgiving and all, or just whatever. And so, you feel compelled, like, oh, I got to eat a bunch and then I got dessert. And you get so used to feeling uncomfortable after eating that you start to think that that's normal.
And that shouldn't be the norm.
That's not normal. And that's what people, so, man, the instinctive eating, like just listening to when you're full, and then
stop eating.
Stop eating. And then also paying attention to how certain foods make you feel. People just did those two things, man.
And I think that's foreign to a lot of people. They might feel a little sluggish, or maybe like some brain fog, or just a little crappy in general, and they won't associate it to what they just stuffed in their face.
Yeah, no.
There's a disconnect there.
Yeah, there's a disconnect.
There really
big time,
and
man.
I'm hoping that gets remedied.
Yeah,
that's kind of maybe it's more of a wishful thinking.
Yeah.
But
no, I agree with you. I think that's going to be a trend. I think in the diet world, in the nutrition world, you'll definitely see a trend. There'll always be your diets,
right? There's always going to be,
your South Beach diet. It sells books, and there's a place for them.
Yep.
But I definitely agree. You're going to see more people coming out talking about this instinctual eating. Listen to your body. That kind of stuff being a big part of it instead of just A plus B equals C. I think that was a good one, man.
And then my next one, it tied. I don't know why I started talking about that one, but anyways, it ties into what you were talking about, sugar. I think people are gonna start eating for brain health.
Oh yeah.
To it's kind of the catch term right now is the type 3 diabetes. That's kind of what people are referring to.
I haven't heard of that. What's that?
Alzheimer's. and shit like that. And they're starting to do a lot of studies and link shitty diet to Alzheimer's, and in particular sugar. Sorry, snake. They're starting to link a lot of sugar and different stuff to Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
And so I think that's going to be a trend. Since more of that information's coming out to the general public, people are going to start seeing that, and so people are going to start eating to ward off that.
Yeah, I think if anything, it's going to get people away from the sugar train, because people are like, really, that is a trend for sure. People being more cognizant of brain health. And you see it in like, the NFL. It's such a huge thing.
The traumatic brain injury, TBIs, and the concussion protocols and all this stuff. So.
Yeah, so it's definitely a top-of-mind awareness thing among people. I think
it's going to keep going that way.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that means exactly, but
I think it would be good. I mean, it's actually something that they were on that, Dr. Rhonda Patrick. I hate calling her Dr. Rhonda Patrick.
She's so wicked smart.
She's so wicked smart. It's such a funny name. Like when you say it, like it's like, wait a minute, her name's just Rhonda Patrick, but you get to the point where you're just like Dr. Rhonda Patrick. Yeah. And but anyways, they were talking about
makes you sound smarter when you're referring to someone with doctor in front of their name.
That is true. I should keep it for selfish reasons.
Please proceed.
But she was just talking about the gut health brain loop, and how sugar feeds the wrong gut biome, and so you got the wrong things in your gut, and then it's affecting your brain. And so I think that if anything is gonna start to reverse the sugar trend in the country, where it's just everywhere, it's gonna be that people are gonna start to get really freaked out about, because I don't know, man, it's hard to, you're overweight, it's hard, I don't think people are as worried about that as they are seeing Uncle Steve fucking get Alzheimer's.
Dude, if you haven't experienced that, if you haven't had a family member have that,
or even just dementia, like I haven't had a full-on blown Alzheimer's, but I had an uncle that was getting dementia.
My grandma, before she passed away, she had I might be butchering the name of it, but it's in the same domain as that stuff. It was called supranuclear palsy. I think I might be butchering that name, but
sounds smart.
She was losing her mind. I didn't get to see her right at the end. So I never saw her when she was real bad. Just being I lived out here, but she ended up being in an assisted living home where my parents would go visit her daily, and she didn't know what was going on at all.
Yeah,
I mean, she didn't recognize anybody, and she got to the point to where we don't know whether she just chose to not talk or she lost her ability to talk. Like, she just stopped talking. Yeah. I don't know how long that went before she ended up dying, but dude, you see that, and if dude, that'll fuck your world up, man. You see somebody you love like that and go through that, because you almost wonder, man, is their brain still functioning on the inside, but they just can't make the connections to express it? Dude, it's a terrible thought.
Yeah.
And so if you could eat to ward that off, dude, sign me up, man.
Dude,
I don't want to go out like that.
No, man, no.
It's terrible to think about and see. I do not want to go out like that.
Yeah.
I think if I start losing my faculties, dude, and I see it, I'm jumping off the first cliff I can find, man. I do not want to go down like that, dude.
That's what I say, man. It's funny, though. People just, for some reason, the health and weight thing just doesn't motivate them. But I think that the brain health is something that freaks people the F out.
I would hope so. It freaks me out. Just thinking about it right there, dude. Just gives you chills, dude.
But that's why you do the stuff, man. Exercise, eat right, live a good lifestyle. I mean, there's definitely things you can do to tip the scales in your favor. But, eating... What you put in your mouth, man, has such a role on brain health and brain function. So, I agree. I think that's a good prediction. So,
anyways, I had, and I had a couple more, but I'm not gonna talk about those. They're kind of stupid. Fuck it, I'm leaving it there for nutrition.
Man.
I'm sick of talking nutrition.
Yeah, let's get to jiu-jitsu.
Let's get to jiu-jitsu.
It's a jiu-jitsu podcast.
Fuck, dude, I'm done talking nutrition.
Man, we're fucking, we get way off in the weeds.
We do. All right,
jiu-jitsu. It's funny, man. I like it, because I like that we have, I don't know. Jiu-jitsu is great, but you can only talk so much jiu-jitsu. It's like being able to talk other things that are related to jiu-jitsu as well. I think that's what keeps it interesting for me, and that's why I like looking into this shit. So, all right, man, I'm gonna jump in. So,
man, are your notes typed up today?
They got printed off.
Dude, look at you.
Well,
not handwritten notes anymore. You're typing them up.
Man, honestly,
what is this?
Don't give
me. You got bullet points on there and shit too.
Don't give me credit that I don't deserve. This was actually an act of laziness.
right.
So I just happened to find myself in here when I decided to do my notes.
Gotcha.
So, all right, jiu-jitsu. So I predict that we're going to continue to see a growth in the popularity of non-IBJJF tournaments, things like Fight to Win. Fight to Win, the guy Seth does a fucking amazing job. They're so much fun. And also the popularity of EBI type events. I just think people are really, I don't know, man. Like, again, it's a double-edged sword. I want to talk. IBJJF has done a lot of great stuff, and you know, the people that compete there and stuff are great. But what was the quote Steve had for us? He's like, man, if you compete too much of those IBJJF events, they'll get you killed or whatever. Yeah. If you roll like that, it's like there's so many rules that are involved with it that I think people are kind of appreciating just a little
pure
version of it. Yeah, or like, I've been at like Fight to Wins, and my foot comes across the hip a little bit, and they'll throw you a warning about reaping, like, hey, watch that foot.
Instead of just be like,
boom, you're done, get up. Yeah.
You're done.
Yeah. It's like, so anyways, I think that those non-IBJJF tournaments are going to continue to, you see more and more of them, which fact we've seen several of them pop up here in Colorado in the last couple years. And then, the EBI events we've talked about a bunch of times, man, those submission-only grappling events, I think that's where the future
I think that's future. That was one of my predictions also.
Yeah, Fight to Win pros.
That tournament format, I see that it's already pretty popular, and I think it's just going to grow.
Keep going, yeah.
And I don't know where it's going to grow to, but I'm excited to see it.
Yeah.
It's going to keep going that way.
Yeah.
So it's cool. And it's good for the art.
I think so.
It's bringing. It's still a sport, but it's making it's a little more pure.
Yeah.
It's because you start getting all those rules in place, and then people just start gaming it because you're there to win, man.
Yeah.
And so if you're playing a game, you're gonna find a way to massage the rules into your favor so you can win. You want to stack the deck in your favor.
Yeah.
So if you have a really good understanding of all the rules, and there's a freaking million of them, you can play. So that's where the advantages come in. Like this, I still hate I love leg locks, the 50-50 position. I hate it.
Right. Yeah.
The 50-50 stallers, because you can, man. And then you just tip somebody over to their hip, and there's your advantage.
Yeah.
It's not even a sweep, and then you win a match by an advantage. Like, get the fuck out of here, man.
Yeah.
That's not the point of jiu-jitsu.
No,
you should be going for the kill.
Yeah.
Like, at all times.
Yep. Yeah.
At all times. Like,
I agree, man. I agree. So I think, again, it's one of my goals is to compete at, IBJJF Masters World. So,
right.
I'm not totally anti those tournaments, but I just think that, people just get a little turned off sometimes by them, and they just the popularity of events where there's not quite so many rules.
And I think that how do I want to put this? I kind of brain fart, man. We trained pretty hard today, dude.
We did, man.
I think that being at these sub-only tournaments and that type format are getting more popular. I think it's only going to make jiu-jitsu as a whole get more popular.
Yeah.
Because it's
more exciting to watch.
It's more exciting to watch. It's more exciting to partake in. And
there's nothing more frustrating than having some dude sweep you, or you just get an advantage, or just do something and then just stall the fuck out for 4 minutes.
We love jiu-jitsu, obviously. But we don't even enjoy watching that many tournament matches.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
You get burnt out really fast. We like competing, we like training, all that stuff. But just to sit there and watch some tournament matches, it's like, good Lord, it gets so boring so fast, man.
Yeah.
If you're watching them online, you just start fast forwarding until you see a bunch of movement, and then back up a little bit. What happened?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, fast forward some more. Oh, there's some more movement. Let's see what happened. You know? Yeah. So
man,
that's my hope.
There's a tournament. I just saw something the other day about a new league or organization or something getting going. They've signed Leandro Lowe and
I've seen that.
Yeah, it's like the same dudes doing Abu Dhabi, isn't it?
Yeah. God, what is it? I'm drawing a blank right now.
So but again, we're just seeing another league coming in and cashing in on it. So
that's good. It's good for the sport.
It's super good for the sport.
Awesome.
Yeah,
because it's just going to continue to grow and evolve. And it's cool.
Cool, man. All right. So we both kind of shared that one. How about you got one?
On that same path, I think the leg lock game, which is blowing up in popularity in the no-gi world.
Uh-huh.
I think that's it's already in the gi world, But I think that's part of my prediction. I think it's going to start taking over the gi world again, like it did in the no gi world.
That's where a lot of, I think, why the popularity of non-IBJJF events is going to come from. Because dude, like, we can't get a fucking straight answer if the honey hole is IBJJF legal. Right. You know what I mean? So it's like, and you can't attack knee bars until what?
I think brown
belt. Like, that's fucking ridiculous.
It is.
You know what I mean? So it's like you can't even attack anything but straight ankles until you're brown belt, basically. And you got to watch all these reaping rules and stuff like that. So, you know, unfortunately, a lot of those IBJJF event rules hinder the effective use of the leg lock game. Really, and I think that's why you're going to see these other tournaments becoming more popular, because people are like, dude, obviously the leg lock game is where, like, it's important, you know? So, yeah, I agree.
I hope so. It's a little wishful thinking, but I don't think it's that lofty of a prediction. And one reason behind that, because I don't think any of my predictions I really had a good solid reason why I came up with them. This one I have a little bit more. Because it's jiu-jitsu, I thought more about it. Like the leg lock game, the leg lock game got really popular in no-gi in large part to the Danaher Death Squad dominating shit and the 10th Planet guys dominating shit. Really, those two teams, I mean, they played a large part in it. They really did. I mean, there's been guys doing it before then, but just the popularity.
Yeah, I mean, like Dean Lister.
Yeah, Dean Lister was doing it way back.
Yeah.
Our buddy Rolly's been doing leg locks and just snatching up people's ankles for years.
So there's definitely dudes been doing it for a long time, but those two teams are the ones that really
kind of bringing it to the forefront. They have. And now you see that monster Gordon Ryan wearing a gi and training in a gi, and he wants to be the king of everything, man. He's like, I want to fight all the best grapplers in the world and every tournament rule set. Let's do it. So you start putting those animals in gis.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Have fun with that. They're coming after your legs.
I'm interested to see what they do. Like
that's
going to change.
That's going to change the game.
Yeah.
Because those guys are leg attacking fools.
Yeah.
They're good at it. And they're going to have to figure out how to do it to be within the rule set or whatever tournament they're competing.
Yeah.
But they're smart, man. Yeah. They'll figure it out.
They're
so,
smart.
You start putting Gordon Ryan in a gi or Eddie Cummings, slap a gi on that animal, you know, or Gary Tonin, any of those guys, like, you know, Boogeyman from 10th Planet, like, you put that big long bastard in a gi and good luck, dude.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm hoping that's coming.
Yeah.
I think it's going to change things up. I like it.
So. I think so, yeah.
We do a lot of leg locks at our school.
Yeah, we've definitely been going down that rabbit hole lately. And
it's fun, dude. It's so much fun. It opens up the game so much.
It is. It does, man. It does. Yeah, I mean, being able to attack with both swords as I like to put it.
Yeah, it's so much fun when I'm training with a white belt and he goes after my leg. I'm like, oh, this would never have happened, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And some crazy white belt going after my ankle. I'm like, good job, man. I'm about to smash it, but good job.
Right.
The intensity, I like it.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, no, man, I agree. I mean, it's funny. I actually kind of playing off that a little bit. I had predicted basically the continued acceptance of leg locks as legitimate weapons and not just quote unquote sneaky. Because you still get that shit, man. People are like, oh, leg locks. That's the old school mentality,
dude. Look at old jiu-jitsu tournament matches, and it was I don't know why it was like this, but I remember seeing highlights of matches to where somebody snatched up just like a straight ankle or toe full and won the match because they weren't illegal.
Yeah.
And all the spectators throwing water bottles out in the thing, and getting almost riots breaking out because the dude got caught in a straight ankle.
Yeah.
It was just they were dirty.
Yeah.
They were dirty tricks, and I don't know why. I don't know where that came from.
It's funny, man. I had I read something by John Danaher. And going back to the old Danaher Death Squad.
His posts are so long.
Jesus Christ, I don't think anyone explained to him what Instagram is for.
I can't get into those posts, dude. I read some of them, man, but I got other books I'm reading, dude. I got other books. I can't get into the Danaher.
No, I'll read a few of them here and there. But one of them was interesting, and I actually came across it through another article. But anyways, point is, he was explaining his theory on why that was, and I thought it was really telling. I thought that it had a lot to it. But your traditional jiu-jitsu is take someone down, pass their guard, mount them. You know what I mean? Like it's a top. You pass their guard, and if you're on bottom, you sweep them, pass their guard, advance positions till you get mount, till you get back. So when you snatch someone's foot, you're basically admitting I can't play that game.
So you think it was like a pride thing?
Yeah. Basically, it's like the way that it got turned around was like, well, you're basically saying you can't pass my guard. And you can't play so So it became, that's where it became this sneaky, tricky little thing.
Like,
right.
Oh, you can't pass my guard.
You can't pass my guard, so you're just going to snatch my foot and go for a foot lock. And you know, the mentality was that's not jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu
was the lazy way out. It wasn't
sneaky. Yeah,
lazy
you're admitting defeat.
You can't pass my guard.
You can't defeat me in the gentleman's game of guard passing, and so you're just resorting to this dirty little trick of snatching my foot. Well, you know, bully on you kind of thing. So that was his, you know, again, I'm paraphrasing it.
Of course.
But that was his take, and I thought that was really interesting because it is, that's true. Like, that's what it is. And you could even argue that came from a good place, because remember, the Gracies originally developed Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as a self-defense, like to perform in the Vale-Tudo matches. And you do open yourself up when you go for leg locks, and people can kick and punch and do things like that. That's not exactly maybe the best idea. So I can see the mentality from a self-defense oriented fighting standpoint. That's what you do, and you don't resort to snatching feet. But man, if we're going to throw some fucking rules out there, and then you're going to use those rules against me on some level, like, well, then I need to be able to use the rules against you. And so, like, okay, well, I can't slap you to pass your guard. Well, you can't fucking punch me to stop me from taking your ankle. Like, it's a trade-off here. Like, your guard passing wouldn't be so good if I could punch you, like, you know, as combat jiu-jitsu is kind of showing. So you know what I mean? So it's one of those, I can see where it kind of got started down that road.
I guess I can see all that.
But I think that it's just getting, like we were talking about in episode 9 with the idea of meritocracy, and how BJJ is the ultimate idea of meritocracy, that it doesn't matter why it got there, it's being revealed that's just not the case. Like, you can be extremely effective with both ends of the body and use them together. Kind of thing. So, and I think too, you just get, when people weren't really privy with leg locks, I mean, Rolly talks about all the time, like, man, back in the day it was great. You could just show up to any tournament and, you know, with a rudimentary understanding of ankle locks and just ankle lock everyone and win. And so I think people got a bad taste in their mouth from seeing that happening. Like, you know, people relying on ankle locks and having no other part of their game, and just relying on people being ignorant about how to defend them. And so you kind of combine those two things, and people are like, fuck leg locks, man. So, but no, I think they're just going to continue the acceptance. I think the truth is out that they're super effective in, you know, jiu-jitsu. So,
cool.
Yeah. All right.
We're on the same page with the first couple.
Cool, man.
What's the next one you got?
Next one I got. The emergence of combat jiu-jitsu as a discipline, and starting to see like classes and curriculum for it.
I can see that happening.
Yeah, because it's a middle ground, man. It's not jiu-jitsu and it's not MMA. And you're going to have to train for it somehow.
Yep. And if that starts becoming more popular as a competition in itself, I can see that, because it's different. You're not going to train the same way you are for MMA. You don't have to you're not spending time learning the striking on the feet.
Right.
Because in combat jiu-jitsu, they're not. As you know, the EBI rules, you know, the way they're doing it, they wrestle on the feet. And if they're
as soon as one person's butt hits the ground,
then they can start slapping
open hand palm strikes.
And they can, we should probably say palm strikes. It's a little bit better than saying slap. But anyway, they can start slapping each other. And then they even got the rule to where I think if they stand up for more than 2 minutes, they have to go to the ground.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they have it to where like you get to pick. I think they flip a coin, and like say you won the coin toss, you get to pick. And it's a butterfly guard with an underhook. Yeah. So you get to pick whether you want to be the top guy in that situation or you want to be the bottom guy.
Oh, yeah.
And then the match starts there.
Go from there, yeah.
So, yeah, you would have to train that if you're definitely going to compete in that. I mean, you can take guys that are training MMA and put them in that, and they're going to be pretty good. Yeah. You know, they'll be all right with it. You know, but if you got a jiu-jitsu guy.
Man, the problem even there, like MMA, like you're taught to punch use
your
elbows.
Way in to get
They can drop elbows. They can use knees. You know what I mean? Like, I think.
But at the highest level, man, like MMA guys, they can change that.
I know at the highest level, but I'm just saying, like, I could actually see it being a tougher transition for an MMA guy to combat jiu-jitsu than a jiu-jitsu guy to combat jiu-jitsu, because the dude doing, man, when the things get heavy and heated and you're like reacting on instinct, it's going to be really hard to remember not to drop an elbow or throw a knee or something like that.
Yeah, because an MMA guy coming in, you're stripping a lot of his weapons and tools away. To where a jiu-jitsu guy, you're just adding a couple.
Yeah, that's why I see it being like starting to develop its own discipline, because I think you're going to find guys who, man, I don't really want to get fucking kicked in the head. I don't want to get head kicked. I don't want to take elbows and punches, but I'm interested in a little bit more than just jiu-jitsu. So yeah, I think Eddie's
I can see that.
onto something, man. I think he's going to create another category for us.
That might be on something. So, that'd be kind of cool.
We'll see where we're at in a year.
So my next prediction is similar to that. I think we're going to see a little getting back to the roots of self-defense.
Ooh.
Basics.
Yeah.
It gets lost a lot, man. It's not as fun to play with. I mean, it's important skills to have. But, doing sport jiu-jitsu is so much fun.
Yeah.
And that's what we all like to do. We like to show up and we like to try to strangle each other and train hard. But we're guilty of it. We don't train much self-defense stuff.
Yeah, not as much as...
we go through streaks.
Yeah.
We'll be good about it for a while.
I've done it enough to where, like, I wouldn't feel like a dumbass if I showed up to some other school and they're like, we're working on the crazy combatives today. I think that's basically what, we've done a lot of. But I've had some exposure to it, but yeah, it's definitely not, we don't do it enough to where it's this top of mind awareness thing. So.
And I think we're going to see a trend of people going back that way.
Yeah.
Re-upping the importance of it. Like, okay, hey, we're getting a little off, Jiu-jitsu is a fighting art, and you need to learn how to, if someone attacks you on the street, you get into an altercation you can't get away from.
Yeah.
You got to be prepared for that. So
yeah.
I think so. We'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah. No, man. I don't know.
I'm not saying I want to spend a ton of time doing it.
Right.
I've been around long enough, and my self-defense out on the street is I keep myself in pretty good shape. I'm just gonna run away, man. I'm just running, dude. I'm not getting in a fight out there. Unless I'm trapped in a corner and I absolutely cannot extricate myself from the situation, then I would.
Yeah.
But dude, besides that, man, I'm just gonna run.
Yeah.
I don't care if someone calls me a coward or something. Yeah. I'm gonna run, man. Run, get out of there, go home. I'll be just fine. Man.
Yeah. And that's your best self-defense.
That's my best self-defense right there, dude. Just run.
Yeah. No, man. I think you're. Hopefully you're right. I'm not sure.
I'm not too sold on it, but it's prediction.
Yeah, I think it's good. I don't know. It was interesting, again, going back to when we were at the Steve Maxwell seminar. I mean, he's so old school, man. He's just like, yeah, Gracie combatives, make sure you guys know that stuff. And it's like it's supposed to be a self-defense, it's not just a sport. And so I think that was kind of his point with the whole IBJJF is like it's the rule set in the IBJJF is so far removed from a self-defense situation that if that's all you do is train under IBJJF rules, you're a real heavy IBJJF competitor and you're always making sure you're following their rules, that there's a good chance
be able to defend yourself very well.
You could get yourself killed in a real altercation because you literally just don't know how to go outside of that rule set. And yeah, self-defense definitely goes outside of some of the rule set there. So yeah, no, I would.
It's beneficial.
Yeah, it's definitely beneficial. So, all right, cool. What do we got here? I got one more here, which is actually interesting. I think the pendulum, once again referring to that thing, is going to start swinging the other way, and people are going to start figuring out the old leg lock game, the old Danaher Death Squad, 10th Planet leg lock game. I think we're going to start seeing some effective defenses to it, and then it's going to be their turn to start figuring out how to get around those defenses. But I can't see it continuing this way forever. That's just not normal. Like, that's just not how things go. Like right now, the leg lock game and these guys are just dominating at such a level. I just don't think it's sustainable. I think that other people are going to start figuring out, like, what's going on here. What can we do to shut this down? What can we do to change the fight? I don't know what it's going to be, but I think that
it already is there, because it's not just like you said. Rolly had said that back in the day. Yeah. You could have a very elementary understanding of a straight ankle and show up and just run through tournaments. People started to learn how to shut that down. So it just evolves, boom, boom, boom. So we're at the point to where the leg lock game is pretty advanced. And even low-level people are starting to understand it.
Yeah.
So it's just it's.
Yeah. Yeah, I see it continue to progress. But yeah, I mean, that last seminar we went to with Rolly it was the counters to the counters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's like, man, people are getting, like, they know how to counter the ankle lock, so here's the counter to their counters. And like that, that's the point. Like, we've been in it, he's like fucking 3 levels deep from like when we first got involved with him with a lot of this stuff. And that's where it's going. But it was because he had to develop defenses to their defenses. And so, I see that the pendulum starting to swing the other way by, in a year, and people starting to figure some things out. But I definitely have faith that they'll figure out a way around that. But but it would just make it more interesting, man. Yep. For sure.
Makes everybody better. And that was your last one?
That was my last prediction, man.
I got one. I had a couple more, but I'm just going to go with this one. This will be the last one. I think the jiu-jitsu community as a whole is going to become more health conscious as far as nutrition and your mobility type stuff. Like we already touched on, we think a lot of people are going to, in the fitness realm, we're going to place more importance on mobility. I think that carries right over to the jiu-jitsu guys and gals. I think a lot more people in jiu-jitsu are going to, like I say, are going to be more health conscious in general. What I mean by that is mobility, nutrition, and like strength training. Because you've seen it, there's a lot of jiu-jitsu guys that feel, well, if I want to get stronger at jiu-jitsu, I'm just going to do more jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
That's a lot of we see a lot of people like that. I see it changing though. And there's a lot of jiu-jitsu guys aren't very health conscious from what I've seen. Like they don't concentrate on diet much or nutrition.
Yeah.
It's changing.
Which is funny. The top guys.
Of course, the top guys
do. Yeah. Which is
the top guys do. But
right.
I'm talking from normal.
No. I know. I know.
Average Joes like us. I think it's getting more acceptable. You hear more conversations in the gym about nutrition.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So.
Yeah, nutrition and strength training
and another another where I base this on is like my experience in the CrossFit world. I've been to a lot of CrossFit competitions, more to watch and be a spectator as opposed to not doing it. But you go to a CrossFit competition, you look around, the crowd itself is fit.
Yeah.
Dude, like everybody there is pretty health conscious. You get a few spectators here and there that aren't.
Yeah.
But like 80% of the people there are freaking jacked to some sort or headed in that path. Like they're paying attention to what they're eating, what they're doing. You go to a jiu-jitsu tournament, you look around, a lot of the spectators are just straight up spectating. They ain't planning on doing anything physical.
Right, yeah.
They're eating like shit, and it bothers me. You go to some of these jiu-jitsu tournaments and they have these food booths there that are serving garbage.
Oh, nachos
and greasy and nasty shit.
Yeah.
And you go to these CrossFit competitions and all their food booths are fucking paleo stuff.
Yeah.
Health conscious stuff. I see it. I'm hoping it goes that way.
Yeah.
I really do. It's better for everybody, No,
man, I agree. Yeah. No, I think
maybe not. I don't know, but
yeah, I'd agree. I think that I can definitely see that. Right, I see definitely the importance of off the mat training, the mobility and the strength stuff. I definitely see that continuing to get more accepted because again, I've been doing this long enough where I feel like I kind of got in on the tail end of when strength training was still really easily dismissed. You just don't hear that quite as much as you used to. I mean, you can only see so many fucking Instagram posts of the top guys out there doing kettlebells and lifting weights, and obviously they're doing strength training. So fucking strength matters. Strength training matters.
Hey, this is a physical sport, man.
Yeah.
Being strong is important.
But we're still fighting the strength doesn't matter, technique is king mentality that it's not as gripping as it was, and I see that grip continuing to loosen and get less over the next year for sure. But along with that, the mobility stuff, like I said, yoga's been getting a lot more popular in the jiu-jitsu community, and so I think those are both like really positive trends that will continue. The nutrition and stuff, man, I hope so too. I hear you, man. It's always ironic when you go to something that's supposed to be about health and fitness, and It's like when I go to these fitness conferences and we're all sitting down listening to people tell us how bad sitting is. It's like, wait a minute, man. There's a disconnect here, man. There's a disconnect.
Something got missed here.
Yeah, if we're trying to preach healthy lifestyles and stuff like that, then I think it's a little weird when you go, but it's that's where we're at. A lot of these venues where you have these tournaments, they just got their food vendors.
Yeah, it's already in place. It has nothing to do with the person running the tournament.
Yeah.
I actually have no idea. I've never tried to put on a tournament, so I'm speculating. So, I don't know.
So,
anyways, that's it, man. Those are crystal ball predictions for the year.
Crystal ball predictions. So, more sugar.
According to you, I say
according
less.
According to me,
because we don't want
more leg locks, more leg lock defenses.
Yep.
And there you go. That'll be what else?
I think that's it. That's the
gist of it, man. That's 2018, man. Eating sugar, doing leg locks, and leg locks.
That's it, dude. Steel maces, eating sugar, and leg locking fools.
There we go.
That's all you need to know.
That's it. That's all we need to know. We could have summed the whole fucking last 2 hours up into that right there.
We could have just said those three things. You guys eat sugar, swing your steel mace, and leg lock every fucking person you wrestle with.
Yeah, until they figure out how to defend it. So cool. Well, right on, man. Well, that was fun. I thought that went well. I'll admit I wasn't quite sure how the predictions episode would go, but I thought we had some good ones, man.
I had faith we'd be all right.
Yeah,
we can bullshit our way through any topic.
Yeah, we can bullshit our way, but I thought we had some good notes on that.
We were slightly better than bullshit.
Yeah. So okay, well, cool. So again, when you guys hear this, it'll be the last week of January.
Should be like January 26th or something, 27th,
something like that.
That Friday it'll post.
So. Yeah. So we'll be getting back together for another live episode the following week, and I think we'll
that's it. We'll sort it out from there.
We'll go from there. I don't know what the hell we're going to talk about in the next episode.
Next week, I don't know.
So I know we're talking about next week, but not next week.
Oh, man.
Anyways, there you go. Figure that one out. Right on, guys. So once again, before we go, can reach us at Grumpy Guy BJJ at gmail.com. If you got any questions or comments, any reader questions, we'll read on air and answer. You can find us on Podbean and iTunes and Stitcher and Google Play and
iHeartRadio. Yeah. Just find
more places than you can't find us.
Let's put it like this. If there is a podcast app you guys can't find us on, let us know.
Yes.
And I will make it happen.
Producer Rob
unless it costs us a lot of money, I will make it happen.
Yes.
So that's it.
There you go. And reviews and ratings and stuff, comments, man. We love all that stuff. Really appreciate all the support with everything so far, guys. And man, that's about it. Any other words of wisdom on the way out?
Talk to you guys later.
All right, guys, that's it. We will talk to you next week.
Peace.